evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Garth Williams. Mexican-based company Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, GAP, is the preferred bidder for the privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport. GAP currently has a 50-year concession to operate, maintain, and develop 12 international airports in the Pacific and Central regions of Mexico. While its subsidiary owns about 75% of MBJ Airports Limited, operators of the Sangster International Airport, GAP was selected after a process of evaluation and subsequent approval by Cabinet. 3 bids were initially submitted after the public opening of the offer on July 20 earlier this year. The other 2 were from a consortia which comprised the foreign and local investors. NMIA is currently owned by the Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, and is operated by NMIA Airports Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of the AAJ. When the agreement is finalized, NMIA will be operated under a 25-year concession with an option to extend the arrangement by an additional 5 years. During the period, GAP will be responsible for fully operating NMIA and improving the efficiency of both landside and airside operations, financing and completing the planned modernization and expansion and maintenance and upgrading of the facilities of the airport. The government of Jamaica anticipates the execution of the concession agreement by November this year. Ping's Distributors, Fabric and Food Department at its warehouse on Ashenheim Road in St. Andrew went up in smoke early this morning, leaving the company counting millions of dollars in damages. It's believed the fire started at an adjoining business on the property. Jamila Maitland reports.
Firefighters are still trying to extinguish flames of a fire that started on Ashenheim Road. Behind me is the scenes of part of the warehouses of Ping's Fabric and Atlantic Hardware. Ping's distributor, owners of the property, said they were called early this morning to respond to a fire at one of their warehouses. An exhausted operations manager of Ping's Fabric, George Beckford, explained what happened.
I can't put words to it. Frightening when we got the call minutes to 1 this morning to say the warehouse was on fire. I don't even know how I got out of the house, but I found myself on the way driving down, and we came here. It was crazy. An inferno at the back there, fire way high above the roof.
He said even though the company won't know the final figure for some time, the loss is expected to be in the millions of dollars.
We lost one warehouse, which was at the rear of the property, and there we had manufacturer's item mainly, mattress, springs and shoddy and sponge and polyester fiber. We had auto upholstery. We lost some equipment there. A forklift was inside there, a rolling machine, a sponge shredding machine, and lots of other fabrics.
Mr. Beckford said the team offloaded a new container into the warehouse just yesterday, but that container and its contents are now gone.
Right now we have 2 containers in the yard. We offloaded one yesterday, just yesterday, and those goods were packed down in that warehouse that is totally wiped out by the fire.
Firefighters have just ended their more than 12-hour shift after trying to extinguish a major fire on Ashenheim Road. The extent of the damage is expected to be in the millions of dollars after businesses lost machinery, equipment, and the tools. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
There was some uncertainty up to news time as reports emerged from the University of Technology UTech that lecturers were taking industrial action over a pay increase impasse. Reports are that the lecturers staged a sit-in this morning, protesting, among other things, the lack of funding that the institution has received over the years. Students have reportedly stayed away from classes also, as some lecturers did not show up. Sources say UTech President Professor Stephen Vassiani has called a meeting with the disgruntled lecturers to discuss how to best resolve the issue. Classes at UTech for the 2018 to 2019 academic year started only a few weeks ago. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says discussions have started with manufacturers who distribute sugary drinks to schools about the steps they'll be taking to reduce the sugar content. The talks come as the government plans to implement its policy on sugary drinks in school come January. Speaking at the release of the Are You Drinking Yourself Sick Post-Obesity Prevention Campaign survey results yesterday, Dr. Tufton said manufacturers are key stakeholders that the government wants to see producing juices that are more fruit-based and healthy for the nation's children. Dr. Tufton said he is encouraging school beverage manufacturers to embrace the approach the Ministry of Health has been taking, as the goal is to reduce obesity and non-communicable diseases among Jamaican children. According to the key findings in the Obesity Prevention Public Opinion Survey, 7 out of 10 Jamaicans attributed negative health impacts to sugary drink consumption. Approximately 8 out of 10 respondents were concerned about the effects of sugary drinks on their children's health, and there was evidence to show that children had easier access to sugary drinks at school when compared to their homes or other places outside of their homes. And when we return, utility companies fork out millions in compensation money for customers. This and more after the break. Welcome back. Customers of the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPSCO, and the National Water Commission, NWC, received over $40 million for breaches between January and March this year. Sashana Small tells us more.
JPS's compliance report revealed that the company committed a total of 20,121 breaches during the January to March period. This is a 5% increase when compared to the number of breaches during the preceding quarter. 90% of the breaches resulted from the issuance of estimated bills. The JPS's guaranteed standards prevents the utility company from sending more than 2 consecutive estimates. The over 20,000 breaches during the period saw JPS paying over $40 million to its customers. Meanwhile, the National Water Commission had a reduction in the number of breaches it committed during that period. The NWC racked up 361 breaches, which was a 25% reduction over the preceding quarter. Although the total potential payout of these breaches was over $1.1 million, customers only claimed half of that amount, as many did not complete the requisite compensation forms. However, for the customers who registered their claims, the NWC made payments through automatic credit to their accounts. In the meantime, the OUR Consumer Affairs Unit received 1,000 contacts over the period, a decline of 3% over the preceding quarter. JPS accounted for 34% of the contacts made, and the NWC 24%. Contacts relating to service interruptions dropped by 22%. Complaints about customer service declined by 21%, and alleged breaches of the guaranteed standards fell by 31%. This accounted for the most significant declines when compared with the last period. For BATV News, I'm Shoshana Small.
Chairman of the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, Norman Grant, says he wants the government to impose a tax on imported coffee. His argument is that an import tax will help to resuscitate a dying coffee industry. Here's more.
Jamaica's coffee industry is declining. Stakeholders blame this on the low international prices for coffee, low productivity, and a lack of diverse markets. In a Gleaner article last Sunday, President of the Jamaica Coffee Growers Association, Donald Salmon, complained about the low earnings coffee farmers were receiving from traders, which he said is half of what they used to get 2 years ago. So, to remedy this, his association intends to cut out the middleman completely and grow, process, and trade their own coffee. In another attempt to save the coffee industry, businessman and owner of Jamaica's largest coffee manufacturing company, Michael Lee Chin, donated $60 million of his own personal funds to coffee farmers. But for the chairman of the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, Norman Grant, it's the government that needs to come to the rescue of the ailing industry.
We have placed a number of proposals with our minister. We have said impose a tax, assess on imported coffee, use that cess to expand the Jamaica Blue Mountain and the non-Blue Mountain business. We think that in itself is extremely important.
In addition to imposing a tax on imported coffee, he wants the government to also provide incentives for coffee farmers.
We think we need to find a way to provide some support to the coffee farmers. In the same way last year there was 80 million. We think that there needs to be a steady diet of production incentive scheme to support the farmers during this difficult time.
And in the meantime, his association will be working to find new markets for Jamaican coffee.
There have been an active pursuit of market development. Do we need to be more aggressive? Yes. We need, a part of the framework is to see how we can sell more coffee to our tourists, our over 4 million tourists, so we can increase the consumption locally. Value added is also a very important aspect, and the diversification of our markets. Japan, the USA, Europe, China.
Meanwhile, he says his association is ready to provide the necessary support to help members of the Jamaica Coffee Growers Association find new markets.
Once they become exporters, they become members of the association, and we'll work with them to enter new markets.
For BATV News, I'm Shoshana Small.
Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Audley Shaw, says the government is committed to providing opportunities for young people to pursue farming as a business. He says it is in support of this mission that the ministry has completed a draft National Youth and Agriculture Policy and implementation plan to be submitted to Cabinet shortly. It's expected that the plan will be implemented over a 10-year period upon approval at a cost of some $400 million. The minister says the government is looking to younger farmers, especially those who have received formal training, to lead the way in finding solutions to challenges facing the sector. He notes that the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, has reported an increase in the registration of young farmers over the period 2014 to 2017. He points out that more than 1,100 clubs and in excess of 100,000 members, Jamaica has the fourth largest number of 4-H members in the world. Minister Shaw was speaking at a Youth in Agriculture public forum held in Manchester on Friday. Supreme Ventures Limited has appointed a new CEO for its subsidiary, Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited. Major Hugh Blake's appointment became effective yesterday. In a release to the media today, Supreme Ventures Limited said Major Blake is an accomplished professional and a commissioned officer of the Jamaican Army and currently serves on the Corporate Governance Committee of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Prior to joining Supreme Ventures, he served as a general manager of the Jamaica Cane Products Sales and in a range of capacities in corporate companies such as Lascelles de Mercado Limited. Regional and international stories are up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time now for regional and international news. Starting next month, Air Canada will be increasing service and offering year-round Air Canada Rouge non-stop flights from Toronto's Pearson International Airport to the Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent. Weekly Thursday flights resume on October 25 and will continue on a year-round basis. A second weekly flight will be operating on Sundays during the peak winter travel season between December 16 and April 28. This is the second year the airline has offered non-stop flights since the opening of the Argyle International Airport in February last year, and the first time offering a year-round option to Canadian travelers. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority will host a series of roadshows later this month in Canada to offer more information on the flights as well as destination activities and accommodations. The roadshow in Canada will be the third leg of the Discover SVG roadshows being undertaken in the destination's main tourism source markets. British Airways is facing a multi-million-pound fine as it grapples with the fallout of a massive data breach, which the airline's chief executive described as a, quote, malicious criminal attack. Thousands of BA customers have had to cancel their credit cards after the 15-day data hack compromised 380,000 payments. More in this report.
Now terminal maps are in the palm of your hand.
It promised convenience, but now it's led to the very opposite.
Now there's never been a better time to download the British Airways app.
This furious customer and hundreds of thousands more wish they'd never bothered.
Companies need to have a a contingency plan for when something like this happens, and not just send out an email to pass over the buck and the responsibility to the customers and their banks.
The value of the stolen data from BA could be huge. It includes customer addresses, phone numbers and credit card details. Experts told ITV News they could normally be worth £3 each, a maximum of just over £1 million. But the BA hack includes numbers on the back of cards, and that brings the potential criminal value to £9.5 million. BA splashed apologies across national newspapers today, but the hack lasted 15 days undetected, and the airline's handling of the aftermath got off to a shaky start. Last night, the chief executive was asked if he was committed to compensating passengers, but his reassurances fell far short of that.
We can absolutely reassure that we're going to be with them. I'm reassuring them that we're going to be contacting them, that we're going to be listening to them, and that we're going to be looking at each and every one of their individual cases.
Today, BA shifted from that, at last guaranteeing nobody would be out of pocket. This professional hacker helps companies discover cyber vulnerabilities. He's found no sign of BA's data being criminally traded on sites like this so far.
A lot of people are saying BA is more vulnerable because it's outsourced some of its IT work. Do you think that is the case?
It can do, because you're relying on the security of those outsourced organisations. So if their security processes aren't as good as yours, then potentially, because they've got access to the same information, the hackers might see them as an easier way in.
But this isn't just data loss. BA also stands to lose passengers' trust, and financially, fines could run into millions under new data protection rules. Already lawyers are talking about customer compensation.
There can be individual compensation, so for any individuals who have lost anything because of this. So obviously their credit card details may have been taken and their accounts may have been hacked. So there's sort of civil liability for individuals as well.
With millions now planning the next big holiday getaway at Christmas, BA bosses will be nervously watching to see if bookings are impacted. Chris Choi, News at 10.
Shares in electric car maker Tesla have taken a nosedive after founder Elon Musk smoked a marijuana joint during a live broadcast on the internet. As we hear in this Al Jazeera report, his recent behavior has raised concerns about his ability to lead his businesses.
Good storage.
Whether a media stunt gone bad or an ill-made decision.
You probably can't because of stockholders, right?
I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
The video of billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk smoking marijuana during a live interview Thursday has translated to a financial hit on his company. The stock value of electric car manufacturer Tesla tumbled 9% Friday morning, continuing a downward trend fueled by a string of corporate resignations and its founder's erratic behavior.
I'm getting text messages from friends saying, "What the hell are you doing smoking weed?"
Musk, in early August, announced with a controversial tweet he was considering taking Tesla private, only to take back the idea weeks later. Before that, he had bizarrely interjected himself into the rescue effort of 12 Thai boys trapped in a flooded cave. When his offer to build a mini submarine was refused, Musk turned his angst toward a British rescue diver, accusing him, without giving evidence, of being a pedophile. Tesla has also struggled with recent production delays of its latest model. But SpaceX, another Elon Musk brainchild, continues its groundbreaking success. Its reusable rockets and plans to return human spaceflight capability to the U.S. have upheld SpaceX's status as one of the world's most valuable privately held companies. Asked Thursday to explain his innovative genius, Musk said even as a child, he knew he was different.
I think when I was, 5 or 6 or something, I thought I was insane.
Why'd you think you were insane?
Because it was clear that other people did not, their mind wasn't exploding with ideas all the time.
The question is whether what makes Musk so different is also driving him toward recklessness, and how much patience investors wish to expend. Heidi Jo Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.
The number of employment cases going to court has dropped sharply in France since the introduction of new rules around compensation for unfair dismissals. The measures were passed by an executive order last September amid protests. Here's more.
It's here, in a courtroom like this one, that French employees can argue they've been wrongfully dismissed. An institution that dates back to 1806. But of late, there's been a 15% drop in cases, in large part since Emmanuel Macron's new labor reforms have gone into effect. Pushed through by decree last year, the new laws have, on average, cut in half the damages judges can award for wrongful firings. Now, an employee who is fired after 2 years on the job can be awarded a maximum of 3.5 months of pay as damages. Someone who's worked at a company for 30 years is faced with a cap of 20 months. For some lawyers, the reforms have discouraged workers from taking their bosses to court. With these kinds of measures, employers feel they can control everything, while employees feel that if they go to the labour court, it's going to take a long time and they won't get as much in damages. So there have been fewer cases. As the number of labour court cases has dropped, the number of negotiated departures has increased by nearly 8%. Employers say the conflicts are now being settled directly.
When you go to the labour court, it means time lost for the employer and the employee. There's the cost of lawyers, and before there was an uncertainty of the outcome, whereas now we know what to expect.
Last year, workers' unions protested the changes, saying they stripped employees of much-needed protections, while the Élysée argued that they give companies more latitude to fire and thus to hire employees.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks is next. Welcome back. It's now time for Talking Stocks. 59 stocks traded today, of which 33 advanced, 15 declined, and 11 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 3,700 points to close at over 343,000 points. The junior index declined by 23 points to close at 3,369. Over 5 million units traded today, valued at over $65 million on the Jamaican dollar market, while on the US dollar market, 73,600 units traded, valued at 63,000 US dollars. Barita Investments, with a little over 1 million units trading, accounted for 18% of market volume. GMB Group ordinary shares with more than 1 million units trading was second, and Everything Fresh was third, with more than 724,000 units trading, accounting for a little over 10% of market volume, which crossed the floor. The main advancers were Indies Pharma ordinary share up 37 cents to close at $3.54. Sagicor Real Estate X-Fund ordinary shares went up 64 cents to close at $11.71, and 1834 Investments went up 6 cents to close at $1.10. The main decliners were Derrimon Trading ordinary shares down 41 cents to close at $3.27, followed by Knutsford Express down $1.16 to close at $11.54, and Iron Rock Insurance ordinary shares down 29 cents to close at $3.21. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of our top story. Mexican-based company Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, GAP, is the preferred bidder for the privatization of the Norman Manley International Airport. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Garth Williams. Pleasant viewing.